Everybody, in this video I want to share with you a little strategy that has probably been working more than any other strategy I've used in my entire career to help people reduce anxiety in the recent months. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Hicks. I'm a mental health coach. I help people overcome depression and anxiety, especially if they haven't gotten great results with therapy, medication, and coping mechanisms, because those didn't work great for me. But I found I was able to have good mental health sustainably using different methods. So the method that is working really well for a lot of people, and I've also used it with myself as well too, seems simple at first, but it's important to kind of understand a few of the nuances of it. But it really has at its core to do with either reducing, changing, or removing expectations, or I prefer the word rules. So here's kind of the basics of it. I'm going to use anxiety as the example here. So if you're feeling anxious on an ongoing basis, chances are that you are really craving feeling some form of certain. So for instance, if I were to ask you, I just want you to kind of come up with the answer in your head right now. If I were to ask you, what feeling is most important for you to feel in your life? What's the first answer that comes to you? Okay, chances are it's either going to be something like safe, content, secure, certain, right? Something along those lines if you're dealing with an anxiety issue. There may have been a word that came up like happy or love, something like that. But I bet if I were to ask you again, like, okay, in addition to happiness or love, what other feeling is most important for you to feel in your life right now? After maybe two or three, you're going to say something like safe, secure, something in that realm. Another example would be like in control, right? Something like that. So I'm just going to use certain because that's really what you're craving, right? When people are feeling anxious, what they're valuing is the term we use. Like you have a value on certainty. You really want to feel certain. And the higher up certainty is on your list of values, like if, for instance, you want to feel happy, but you want to feel certain more than you want to feel happy, then what's going to happen is your mind is constantly going to be trying to find certainty wherever it goes. It's going to be like looking for threats. It's going to be, maybe trying to get to the bottom of your to-do list, things like that. And that's going to be a big problem for you. As opposed to if you valued happiness above certainty, then now it might be more sustainable for you because you're like, maybe I don't need to feel so certain all the time. I just want to feel happy. And it becomes easier to live life that way. Okay, so anyway, here's the real meat of what you need to know. The thing that keeps people anxious or depressed or whatever that state is that you don't like stressed or whatever, is having too many rules. So let's just say it's certain. If I said to you, okay, what has to happen in order for you in your life to feel certain or safe or secure, whatever that word is, right, for you? What was the answer that comes up, right? In order for you to feel certain and safe and secure in your life, what has to happen? Okay, so an answer might come up immediately to you, maybe not, but just for the sake of time, let me kind of run you through the most common ones that I see with my clients. So people who are dealing with a lot of anxiety, they'll say things like, I need to have everything done on my to-do list. That's a common one. Another one is I need to have 100% information about something before I do it. Another one is I need to know that something is not going to go badly, right? I need to verify that. 4, I need to know that all of my loved ones are safe, healthy, and happy. 5, I need to be perfect in some way. I need to have, all these 20 or 30 different things correct. 6 might be, I have to have this amount of money in the bank in order to feel secure and safe. What would be another one? I need to get no bad news, right? And then there are even more intricate versions of this, but those are probably the big ones. And usually the people I deal with who are feeling anxious have at least 3 or 4 out of those 7. So it usually is revolving around, perfectionism. Like I have to check all of these different boxes, or I have to get all these things done, or I have to accomplish these things, or everybody around me has to do this. That's another one I missed, is expectations on other people. Like people can never raise their voice to me. People can never, insert whatever the rule is. People always have to text me back. I have to know where my kids are at all times. Okay, things like that. So here's the problem with that. Imagine trying to play a game that has a shit ton of rules, right? Like if we're going to play a board game or a video game and it's got like 100 rules that you have to follow in order to win that game, it's going to feel very difficult to win that game. And that's how a lot of people live their life. They feel like life is something that is unwinnable because they have too many rules. And most people are not even consciously aware of what their rules are. They just know that they kind of have them, and they're trying to constantly make sure that those rules are abided by and met. So what I'll do with my clients is I'll ask them, okay, what has to happen in order for you to feel secure, for example? And we'll get a huge list out. And invariably, the longer the list is, the more anxious the person is. Because the more rules you have, the more difficult it is going to be for you to feel like you're winning that game. Because if I have to get everything done on my to-do list and be perfect, well, even if I get things done on my to-do list, I might feel good in the moment, but I'm certainly not perfect. So that means I still have a rule that's going to be violated, and now I don't feel secure anymore. Because if all of those things have to happen in order for me to feel secure, I'm not going to feel secure. So the first way that we induce anxiety at a higher level is having too many rules, and that makes the game feel unwinnable. The second way is that the rules are in conflict with each other. So I'll give you a common example is people will say, in order to feel secure, I have to make a lot more money. But then they'll also have a rule that says, in order to feel secure, I have to constantly please everybody. Okay, well, guess what? If you want to make money, right, if you want to especially increase the money that you make, you're not going to be able to please everybody. You're going to ruffle some feathers at some point, right? Especially if like you work in business or sales or something like that, right? It's just not going to happen. So you have a rules conflict. Party wants to go here, party wants to go here. So again, imagine playing that board game. You're about to score a point, but you're following one rule, but then another rule gets violated as you try to follow that first rule. Well, now you're going to feel bad. You're going to lose the game of life, so to speak. You're going to score negative emotional points. You're going to feel anxious or depressed or whatever it is. Okay, so having too many rules, having rules in conflict. And then the third big one, and this one is really, really key. These two kind of go hand in hand, number 3 and number 4. The third one is having rules that violate pretty much the laws of nature, as in like having rules that conflict with what is inevitably going to happen. So very often my clients will have rules like, nothing bad can ever happen in my life in order for me to feel secure. And I'll ask them, great, what are the chances that that rule is going to be met sustainably? And they go, yeah, 0%. I say, great, so maybe we need to remove or modify that expectation. And as soon as they do that, anxiety reduces. So that would be one, things that are inevitable. And then the final one is things that they cannot control. This especially revolves around other people. So, if people have a rule that says, no one can ever lie to me, right, in order for me to feel safe and secure, well, they're gonna feel insecure some chunk of the time. So again, it's like if I asked you to play a board game, but the only way you win the board game is if all of these things never happen that are inevitably going to happen. Well, you're not going to want to play that game, right? Because you're going to lose. And then the final one would be if I said, let's play this board game, and the only way you win is if all of the other players follow the rules. Well, now you're screwed again, right? And this is where suicide comes from, right? Suicidal depression comes when we feel that the game of life is totally unwinnable. But panic attacks or extreme feelings of anxiety come too. So the more expectations you have, the more rules you have, the more difficult it's going to feel like the game of life is to win, the more you're going to have negative emotions. By reducing, removing, or getting your rules in alignment with each other, you can sustainably feel fulfilled and feel peace of mind. And that's really the task at hand. So I hope this helps you. I know it's not the most elegant, structured way of delivering it, but it's really, really helping and working people. So I wanted you to have it. I hope it really serves you, and hopefully I'll get to serve you again here soon. Talk to you soon.